Hi, I'm Matt Mahler with MovieWeb. It's a pleasure to speak with both of you. Thank you for discussing this. This is such a charismatic movie. Both of you are very charming. I just love the interplay between people and the location, too. The location is really alive. So I'll start out. Simone, you had mentioned that this was vulnerable for you to try and not take yourself so seriously. I was wondering if you could expound on that and how you were able to do it.
Yeah, I was saying just earlier, it was a challenge to kind of let it be when we're playing with subjects of love and comedy in a rom-com. It's so simple and powerful in itself, and it does most of the work, and you don't have to overanalyze it and, you know, make it perfect. I think for me, the biggest challenge was to just kind of let it be and be in the moment. You're always in the moment, but to just trust it, that was a big challenge for me because I'd never really done anything like this before.
Hero, did you have a sort of similar? I mean, you've certainly explored romance, but this is more like a classic '90s rom-com in many ways. Did you have any of that same vulnerability, or were there any other trepidations?
I think if anything, maybe quite the opposite because I felt so comfortable in knowing who Charlie was, and I think he's a very self-assured character as well. So to play someone who's probably slightly closer to home than the majority of other roles I've played, we obviously have our differences, and there was plenty of interesting stuff for me to explore and lean into that aren't similar to me. But yeah, I think I felt quite confident in the fact I understood him and he understands himself. So there was a self-understanding abundance that felt very comfortable in.
I love that. The idea, I mean, like I was saying, feels very much like a classic rom-com, and I feel like the genre itself has been sort of underrated recently. I mean, the new Bridget Jones, everyone loves it, and it goes straight to streaming in the States. There's kind of like this underappreciation or this expectation. I was curious how you think Picture This fits into the evolution of the rom-com. Does it feel like an anomaly, or is it sort of part of a new trend? I guess Simone, if you'd like to.
I wouldn't say it's an anomaly. I think it's, every movie is unique in itself, but I think I'm happy to say I think it fits right at home with all the other rom-coms. And yeah, as it should be. I think we are seeing, a wave of rom-coms coming back, which is really exciting.
Yeah, there was a period where it was more rom-droms in many ways, much more dramatic, and I think the After films hero is kind of emblematic of that. How would you, fans of those films and your work, what would you tell them about Picture This to invite them to watch and enjoy it?
Yeah, well, I think it's very different as far as the word romance goes, as you've smartly identified. I think the easiest way to kind of explain it is that there's like dramatic romance that After fits into that kind of category, and this is definitely more of a romantic comedy, and I think that's why it was enticing for me to do it. I was lucky enough to do many After films, so if I was going to jump into another romance so soon, I wanted it to be different, and I think that difference is mainly taking out the drama and injecting in the comedy. So yeah, I was excited to get on board, and I think it does exactly that.
Yeah, and you have great comedic timing here, both of you do. Um, um, I like the multiculturalism here. Simone reminds me, I mean, there's Bridgerton as well. How would you compare your characters between the two? Because there are these romantic, comedic aspects that also give space to explore different identities.
Yeah, totally. I think Pia is way more chaotic, fiery and hot-headed in a kind of different way. And, obviously very modern. That's quite obvious, and the times that the two different stories are told. And I think yeah, I think that's what makes her different. I think her chaos and her clumsiness, maybe.
Fair enough. Yeah, yeah. And Hero, I'm curious if young Sherlock, you're joining the canon of great Sherlock actors. Will there be? Do you have a romantic interest in that, or what are other ways it might be sort of different from the Sherlock we all know?
I think the main thing is that he's young in the story that we're telling of him. And I think Sherlock's always had an interesting relationship with relationships, with intimacy. So I think we try and explore that. But I don't want to speak too much about where that goes. But it's interesting. It's a great question, how Sherlock ties into romance. But I would love to bring it back to pictures. I have plenty of time, I'm sure, to talk about Sherlock in the future.
Woo.
I hope so. Yeah, that's going to be great. And I guess finally, Simone, I mean, as we discussed, there was some vulnerability here. I'm curious because there's something else that seems like a new bold step for you with F1. Was there any, how did you feel during that production? And was there a similar sort of, how am I going to approach this? Because it is much more serious compared to the looseness of this.
Yeah. For F1, I have a much smaller role in that movie, but it was, one of the most insane things I think I've ever been part of. We were filming live at the Grand Prix and like touring the world and kind of, we were right in it. And it was just insane. And we needed to have a cast that understood that. And I made friends for life in that movie, and I'm just so grateful to Joe Kosinski and Jerry Bruckheimer for having me part of it and trusting me to kind of tour the world with them. And yeah, I think it's gonna be quite insane.
Yeah, we can't wait. I just hope everyone wore earplugs because that seems like it's going to be a blast of
Yes,
auditory experience.
yes, yes.
Well, thank you both for discussing this. Again, just a very charismatic movie that makes you want to watch these people. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you for your kind words.